You were just, if I can interrupt for 1 second. So the deputy mayor and councilor, are they online, Kendra? Okay, will they be coming in to participate in the voting? Okay. Because you've had one already, and we just want to make sure they're going to be present.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. And yeah, Amy, if I miss you, just give me a holler, because that monitor's right in the way there. I called the vote on that, did I? Okay, all right. Delegations and presentations, I have not been advised of any. We will move on to item number 5 on your agenda, the consent agenda. 5A, Southwest Middlesex, and of course, council, if you wish to have these pulled, we can deal with minor details and modest acknowledgements as we go through them. If it's more complex, we'll move them to new business. Southwest Middlesex Council meeting dated October 12th is in your package. 5B, Middlesex County meeting highlights. 5C, the Southwest Middlesex variance report. And yes, go ahead, Councilor McGill.
Yeah, I'd like to pull 5C and 5D.
Okay. Okay, and of course 5C, 5D rather, was the voucher report, and 5E, East Ferris resolution child care, basically wage parity. Yes, Councillor Cow.
I'd like to pull that out so we can support it.
Okay, would you like to look after that right now, Councillor Cow?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. If you'd move that, is there a second for that? It's wage parity, things of that nature, and the need for staff. Yes, Councillor Scholdice has seconded that. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of supporting East Ferris resolution regarding childcare? Motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor Cowell. We have a committee of adjustment this evening under a separate agenda. I require a motion to move into committee of adjustment for the purposes of the application A6 2020 at 7:04. May I have a mover for that, please? Councillor McGill, seconded by Councillor Vink. All in favor? Carried. We have called the Committee of Adjustment together at 7:04. Is any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. The minutes are before you of the June 22nd meeting and the September 14th meeting. Are there any errors or additions? Seeing none, may I entertain a motion that the minutes be accepted as presented? Someone entertain that, please. Councillor Scholdice, seconded by Councillor Bartlett. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. We're on 4A. Stephanie, it's very pleasant to have you here this evening. Will you provide council with purpose and effect of this application?
Certainly. I'm just going to share my screen with you so we can have some maps to look at. All right. The purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to permit the construction of a 16 square meter dwelling addition with a 32 meter setback from the center line of an arterial road, which is Melbourne Road, whereas the minimum setback permitted from a center line of an arterial road is 38 meters. Additionally, the variance seeks to permit the construction of a 56 square meter carport attached to the east side of the dwelling with an internal side yard setback of 9.7 meters, whereas the minimum internal side yard setback required for lots having less than 100 meters of frontage is 10 meters. And I'm just going to switch over to the sketch that was provided by the applicant. And you can see on your screen the addition located towards the front of the dwelling, as well as the location of the carport to the side. The subject lands are approximately 7.5 acres in size and contains a single detached dwelling and 3 accessory buildings. The subject lands are serviced by a municipal water connection and a privately owned septic system, and have an existing access off of Melbourne Road or County Road 9. Staff have reviewed the application against the 4 tests of a minor variance and are of the opinion that it is considered to be minor in nature. It is considered to be an appropriate use of the land, and it is considered to meet the intent of the Southwest Middlesex official plan and zoning bylaw. Notice of the application was circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. The St. Clair Region Conservation Authority noted that the property is located outside of their jurisdiction. Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority did note that the property in question is subject to the authority's development and interference with wetlands portion of the regulations. This issue of concern is for the area of provincially significant wetland known as the Jim Thompson wetland and its associated 120-meter adjacent lands. And so the Conservation Authority has advised that an application from their office is required prior to any works or construction taking place within that regulated area. The Southwest Middlesex Drainage Superintendent had no issue with the addition, provided that the downspouts will not impact the neighbors. And the County of Middlesex engineer had no comments with the application. And at the time of writing the subject report, no comments were received from the public. So it is recommended that the application be granted, subject to the condition that a permit from the Conservation Authority be obtained. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. There's a process we follow, Council, on this. For anyone watching, the second phase of this is the applicant's remarks. Would Derek be present? Derek, how are you? Good. Just, yeah, come up and sit at that desk there. And Derek, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Dennis, okay. Dennis, okay. Derek in the notes here. Dennis, yeah. Dennis, thank you for joining us. Any concerns at all or anything you'd like to speak about this?
I don't know. I just want to get everything in order so we can start.
Okay, I think you've been in good hands. They've guided you along the pathway here. That's great. So that being said, we can, Dennis, if you have nothing more to add to that, we can go on to an inquiry. Michael, have there been any, or Stephanie, have there been any oral or written submissions at all?
None in addition to what was mentioned in the report.
Okay. Committee is our opportunity to discuss this application. If there's any questions, please direct them to Stephanie through the chair. Seeing none, the committee decision, there's a recommendation before you with, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mary Gay. Yep, I see you up there. Yeah, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'm really not sure who to direct this to, whether Stephanie and Mike want to take a jab at this, but there is at least one and maybe 2 deep wells on that property that once were communal wells for the village of Wardsville. I'm just wondering who the current owners would need to satisfy that those wells have been properly decommissioned.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilkins. That is the next one. So your notes are probably talking about the next report that's coming that Stephanie's going to present.
Sorry, I'm a little bit too early. I don't have my other computer up, so I'll ask that question next time. Thank you.
Quite all right. We've given the applicant a heart attack here. He's okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
It's all good.
He wasn't aware of that, was he?
No.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
a set of paddles out there. If you need them, just let us know. Okay. Okay.
That's the risk you run when you don't have hard copies of the agenda.
Yeah, you're right. I can appreciate that, Deputy Mayor. Committee is in our hands now. There's been no discussion. We will make a decision. Be mindful that there is one condition that the Lower Thames be notified as well. Yes.
They are notified and I do have.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay. Would someone entertain to the motion?
So moved.
Yep. Thank you. I'll take Councillor Cowell, second by Councillor Bartlett. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Not hard, hey? Future meetings subject to change, and we'll adjourn this committee meeting at 7:12. Stephanie, you're not off the hook yet. We're back on the regular agenda, but we are at number 7, public meetings. We have an application here, and we're very pleased to have Andrew and Anna in the audience here. And thank you very much for coming, folks, and for your confidence in Southwest Middlesex. Stephanie, can you address the council in regard to the purpose and effect of this application and the change of the designation of the land's use?
I can, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen again. All right, the purpose and effect of the official plan amendment is to change the designation of the lands from the commercial designation to a commercial specific or special policy area designation in order to establish 4 residential townhome units with accessory commercial uses, whereas townhomes are not permitted as of right within the commercial land use designation. The applicant has advised that each townhome unit will contain a 30 square meter commercial space to facilitate what's called a live-work unit, whereby the townhome unit would be the primary residence of the commercial space or the business. And the purpose and effect of the rezoning application is to rezone the subject lands from the core commercial or the C1 zone to a site-specific residential third density R3-5 zone in order to permit 4 townhome units with the following permitted accessory commercial uses. So home occupation, bake shop, caterer's establishment, clinic, retail store, personal care establishment, personal service establishment, and office. As part of the rezoning, the applicant has also applied to amend the parking standards for those commercial uses for 1 parking space per 30 square meters, which is the maximum size permitted for that commercial space. It is noted that a site plan control application is required in order to establish the townhome development. Staff have not yet received the site plan control application at this time. And the applicant has advised that subsequent to the site plan control application, they do intend to sever the townhome units into 4 individual freehold lots. Staff have reviewed the application against the provincial policy statement and note that generally development is encouraged within settlement area boundaries on full municipal services. This is considered to be an intensification of an existing lot that was previously vacant and underutilized. So it is considered to be an efficient use of the land. Staff are of the opinion that the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment is in conformity with the County of Middlesex official plan, as development is also encouraged within settlement areas on full municipal services. Additionally, within the County of Middlesex official plan, Wardsville is considered to be a community area where It does encourage a variety of housing types, and this being townhomes does diversify the housing options within Wardsville, which has been predominantly single detached dwellings. Staff will continue to work with the applicant in regards to some urban design features, the servicing, the building aspects, the engineering requirements through the site plan control process. And as mentioned, the rezoning application as proposed by the applicant was for 4 individual lots that will be severed in the future. Staff have evaluated the proposal as a lot as a whole instead, but the deficiencies that are being requested by the applicant is challenging to see on this map, but it is a 0-meter setback along Longwoods Road, which is considered to be the frontage for the parcel as a whole. This is considered to be quite common in the commercial area, which is permitted, and is also common along the street line of Longwoods Road. There are a few buildings to the east that have a 0 setback. And additionally, the applicant is seeking a site-specific zoning to recognize I believe it's 1.4 meter setback between lot 4, what will be lot 4 or unit 4, and what's considered to be the rear lot line. And staff are of the opinion that there will be adequate room for access and maintenance purposes between the structure and the lot line for rear yard access. And staff have also been advised that there is access to those rear spaces through the townhome units themselves. So overall, staff are of the opinion that the proposal is considered to be consistent with the provincial policy statement and in conformity with the county and Southwest Middlesex official plan. A notice of the application was circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. The county engineer has reviewed the application and has noted no comments. Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority has advised of generally no concerns, but did note that there are some flood features on the property to be examined. The St. Clair Region Conservation Authority noted that the subject lands are located outside of the jurisdiction. The Southwest Middlesex Drainage Superintendent noted no concerns with the proposal. Stormwater management and drainage would be reviewed through the site plan control process. The Southwest Middlesex Public Works have reviewed, I should mention, the applicant did submit a functional servicing report as part of the application package. And Spreets did review on behalf of the municipality that document and didn't see any concerns with the servicing aspects of the development. And lastly, the chief building official has reviewed and noted for the information for the applicant that live work units as defined by the Ontario Building Code limits the total unit area to 200 square meters, including the subsidiary business and personal services or low hazard industrial occupancy. This will limit the size of each townhouse unit. Also, if the overall building area is greater than 600 square meters, an architect will be required. I will also note that subsequent to writing the planning report, staff did receive 2 public comments that were distributed to council for their information. So that being said, staff recommends that the official plan amendments be adopted locally and forwarded to the County of Middlesex for their consideration, as well as the rezoning application be granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, very much for that report. We're at a juncture where the applicant has the courtesy to speak. Andrew, would you like to address council?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for the opportunity to allow me to talk about the project. I just wanted to say, you know what, I think Wardsville is a beautiful kind of quiet community, and I think kind of the package of the work home unit, I think this could be complementary to the community. I think it could entice someone to move out to the area and take advantage of a work home unit with the low overhead associated with a unit like that. Yeah, I'm just hoping to get support from the community and council for the project.
Well, thank you very much, and we're very pleased that you have confidence in Southwest Middlesex to make that investment. Stephanie, have there been any oral or written submissions?
None in addition to what has been provided to council or spoken to this evening, but I will also mention we do have with us this evening Tracy, who is the planning consultant on the file. She's on Zoom, as well as I think Matt as well, if I'm correct, Andrew, as part of your development team. Yes. Just so everyone knows in case there's any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us through Zoom. Is there any comments that you would like to make at this time in regard to the application that's before council?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would like to add to Andrew's presentation. My name is Tracy Peelan-Abs. I'm the planner for the applicant. Just want to state that the site has been currently listed for commercial use, and it's sat vacant for several years. So this is just a unique opportunity to still maintain some commercial presence along Longwoods Road, but allow someone to have this live work unit where they can live and have some commercial use. And it's a little bit beyond more of a home occupation, but it adds items that you wouldn't be allowed to have as an home occupation, like a little bit of retail. So a bake shop could have a little bit of catering or pickup and delivery and retail, or a little personal care where you could have like a little hair salon or an aesthetics. So it's a unique type of development in a low profile, just a basement and a 1-story, 4 units in total in that townhouse style. The 30 square meters was determined based on your parking standards. We just wanted to allow for 1 commercial parking spot and then 2 residential parking spots. There's room inside the garage and room outside in the driveway. And again, the tenure is ownership, as mentioned by Stephanie. We did have an opportunity to take a look at those public comments that were received in advance. With respect to the wells, it is subject to site plan control. So prior to entering into that development agreement, any wells would need to be proven that they've been decommissioned properly to the satisfaction of the municipality. Septic, stormwater management, functional servicing report, that's been completed by a professional engineer. There were some concerns about setbacks, but as Stephanie mentioned, there's a significant amount of space in the west side. There's about 34.5 feet or 10 meters to the existing building that's on the west side, and then enough on the south side to allow for maintenance. The comments made about the characteristic of the area, provincial policy statements does challenge council to provide a mix of housing choices, and this is just that perfect transition from a single family detached dwelling, either for someone who wants to settle down into the area, launching for the first time, or even maybe just downsizing into their second or third career. And then I think the last point I wanted to make is about traffic. Davis Road is designed to allow for 2-way vehicles. Road widening is being included along Longwoods Road for this proposed development. So we're already showing that because a road widening is required. So we don't anticipate any traffic issues with 4 new units. So happy to answer any questions you might have. And again, the engineer is online as well if you have any engineering specific questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Those questions will come up during the council's discussion period, and we're just about on the threshold of that. Thank you. Yeah. we've got that. All right, Stephanie, we have had that one submission and it has been taken into consideration. Deputy Mayor, we'll have an opportunity to speak to that that you brought up earlier.
I'm good, Mayor Mayhew. Thank you.
Okay, and council, the site plan process will capture any concerns in regard to those wells that they're properly decommissioned. Any questions that council would like to ask the developer or the planner through the chair? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Vink.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Permitted uses, I'm not sure who I should answer this, but the one permitted use is office. That's pretty wide open. Does that mean a real estate person or an insurance person can open up a business there?
Through the mayor to the councillor, yes, the definition of office, you're correct, is quite broad. If you bear with me, I can provide that definition for you.
Oh, that's all right. I just wondered, I was thinking it was quite broad, so, and you've agreed with that, so.
Nope. Council, any further questions you'd like to put? Yes, Councillor Choi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. So I do have a couple comments. I know there were some concerns about the parking, and I do realize there is some extra parking along Longwoods should there be any overflow. And I think I've also heard that there were concerns about losing commercial space in Wardsville. And I think this provides a great opportunity to continue with it. I also feel, considering the overhead of owning or running a business, this is an innovative and economical way for attainable housing, but also lead into our economy, growing our economy. Do we know if the lending is more achievable as an R3 zoning versus C1?
Steph, do you want to introduce that first, and then we can.
Through the mayor to the councillor, could you please repeat that?
Sure, yeah. So when you're trying to purchase, say, a C1 property, there are certain requirements that you need to obtain, one being a large down payment. And otherwise you need quite a specific business plan in place with that as well. R3 residential zoning is a lot more achievable to the average person. So I was just wondering if the R3 zoning would be very similar to an R1 zoning for lending.
That's a financial question, not a planning question. So you might have to ask a banker that. Steph, are you in agreement?
Yeah, through the mayor, I don't have a comment on that, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes, Mike and Andrew, I haven't forgot you there.
Through you, your worship. On a personal note, I've owned an R3 residence. I had no trouble. So, and this was in the past, so that's a personal situation I've run into, and there was no concern based on that type of zoning.
Yeah, Andrew, I saw you sitting on the edge of your chair there. So, would you want to weigh in on this?
I was going to say I haven't encountered anything like that. I was going to perhaps look into it and maybe I could send an official kind of what my findings were to council later on. I just I won't be able to find that information right now.
It's kind of a crystal ball question. It is very pertinent, and I thank Councillor Choi for raising it. But businesses are as good as financing, so I can see where the question came from. But we don't have a crystal ball on that. Any other questions, council? Nothing on the screens. Okay, we are at the pathway to a decision, council. The recommendation has been made, and it has the planner recommends that it be granted. Would someone like to entertain a motion that the planner's recommendation be accepted? Councillor Vink, is there a seconder? Councillor Choi, last call for questions. All in favor? Carried. Yeah. Andrew, thank you very much. Stephanie, thank you for your services. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. We are on staff reports at this time. Fire, there's nothing this evening. Administration, we have bylaw enforcement, the recommendation. The council in the agreement between Strathroy Caradoc and Southwest Middlesex for bylaw enforcement. Kristen, would you like to speak to this or Kendra? I'm sorry.
Yep, so I don't have much to add other than what is already in the report. We approached Strathroy Caradoc to see if they would be interested in this service. They run a similar type of complaint-based service and kind of went through what we would require, and they can meet those requirements. So the agreement's in front of you. They have not taken it to their council, but they have taken to their council to negotiate. So.
Okay. Thank you. It was interesting that the software is even the same that they use. Is that true? Citywide, I believe.
They don't use that yet, but they're interested in using
Okay.
it. So it's a great opportunity for them as well.
Partnering is a concept that we will see more and more of, no doubt. Council, any questions that you'd like to address to Kendra through the chair? Yes, Mike, go ahead, please.
Point of order. I cannot hear the counselor.
Yep. We'll get a microphone on here, Councillor Cal. Yep, on the side, Mike, and then you hit that.
I think I've got it now.
Okay, you got it. Yep, lights on.
Given that there is a 6-month fee if we do cancel, I would prefer to defer this for the new council to make a decision. This is a fairly significant decision to make this late in our term.
Bylaw enforcement is a critical part of our administration. Council, any further discussion on that? Yes, Councillor Vink.
Yes, didn't you just mention, or Kendra just mentioned that Strathroy Caradoc hasn't really approved this as yet anyway?
It may be difficult for them to approve it if we don't approve it. They're looking for a partner, and the partnership will be given to them. I think we're the horse, they're the wagon that we're riding. So I think the horse has to come first. Yeah, so to speak. I hate to use that. I don't mean to make light of the situation, but there is a process of acceptance of a party agreement, and we are in a position where we have to acknowledge our genuine interest in this before consideration. Yes, Councillor Choi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I think moving forward with this sooner rather than later would be a great idea, considering we've not had any bylaw enforcement for quite a while. And I'm sure there are quite a few number of complaints that are piling up, and the residents should be able to have those complaints looked at and taken care of.
I think so. Yeah. Any other statements or questions or comments? There's
Is Councillor Choi moving that, Mayor Mayhew?
I'll move it.
Okay. Yeah, she has moved it now. Deputy Mayor, would you like to
I'll
second it?
second it.
Thank you. Discussion. All right, the chair will call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Carried. Okay. Animal Control Services is before us now. Kendra, this is in your ballpark as well?
No, I'm going to grab that one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
So I'll jump on it. So this is follow up to a council resolution that was made on August 24th. Report was brought to council, and council directed staff to negotiate with the London Middlesex Humane Society for animal control services, and then bring back an agreement for council's consideration. So the report is there in front of you, and if there's any questions, I'm certainly here to help.
Yes, the report is there. The recommendation is that we accept it. I remind council too that I know there was some information that came after the fact of the direction council gave administration to do this. I just remind council, and Michael may expand on this later, but there is a process. And through that process, there are legal parameters as well. But we will make sure that we have full discussion on this. I just want council to be aware of the decisions that have been made and the process that has been taken and the obligations that are before council on this. Are there any questions that you'd like to direct to Michael through the chair? Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Mike, how many years is this agreement?
5. This agreement is for 5 years.
And could I have a follow-up?
Yep, sure.
So I would be more interested in just having a 1-year agreement because of, in light of the fact of some of the information that we are aware of now. Is that possible?
It very well could be. We would have to take this back and bring it back yet again. The negotiation that happened was 9 municipalities went forth and negotiated a rate with the London Middlesex Health Unit and then brought back package pricing. To go back and reduce the term may come back with an unfavorable number, but it is possible, yes, to answer your question.
And just to add to that, Councillor Vink, this is a multi-party agreement with this. So it's there's a lot of players. Yes, Councillor McGill.
Just for the record, it's with the London Humane Society. London Middlesex Health Unit.
That would be wrong.
I
We wouldn't get this price from the health unit, I don't think. Yeah.
Different type of care.
Yeah. Yes, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering, so if someone loses a dog, do they have to go to London to retrieve it?
It's a great question. I would say yes.
And the tagging system would be run through the, is there a tagging system at all? How would they run the tagging system?
The same system as you
Same
have currently
system.
in the municipality.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Yep. Yes, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Short of deferring it to the new council, which I don't think is going to happen, I would agree with Councillor Vink that I'd like to see a 1-year contract, given that this is a new service.
Is there, yes, go ahead, Kristen.
I would hazard a guess that the cost would be significantly more, just because they are planning on building a new facility potentially to house the new contract. So my guess would be a shorter contract is going to be more expensive.
Yeah. Okay, any further interest in this?
Councillor Cowell.
Yep, Councillor Cowell. Yes, please go ahead, Councillor Cowell.
Thank you. Is it possible that this council could request a 1-year contract, find out what the amount would be, but then if they change their mind, still have access to the 5-year contract?
The questions I'll direct to Michael, of course. They may be hypothetical, Michael. It may be difficult to answer, not knowing what discussions will be forthcoming.
Yeah, through your worship, of course, and to Councillor Cowell, I see no problem with that. We could go back and see what the term or the pricing would be for a 1-year contract. If it's unfavorable, then we come back and we present the 5-year back to council, and there's really no harm, no foul in pursuing and checking out that option, other than the lapse of time that you will not have the services until then.
Okay, yes, Councillor Vink, and followed by Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. In this present agreement, is there an opt-out procedure in it?
One moment, please.
And Councillor Cowell, I saw your hand there. I'll get you on the mic as soon as possible. Michael, would you like to go ahead and ask that question as well? Perhaps we can.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I would just like to move that we do pursue a one-year agreement and see
Okay.
what the terms are.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to let Councillor Cal have the privilege of speaking. Yes, go ahead.
Mine was a follow-up comment, and I'm sorry, I had difficulty hearing Councillor Schuldeis. However, I think I got the gist of what he was saying, and it was a request to have it come back with 1 year. And if that is what his request is, I would be happy to second it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you. Martin, I think you got beat out on that one there, but it's been moved and seconded. And we'll just, there's been a question asked to the CAO here. Will one of our CAOs and
Sorry, Your Worship. I'm looking at this. We're able to assign the contracts. We can move the contract. We can cancel the contract. But it doesn't look like there's any ramification for doing so. Suspension or termination is the only thing that I'm finding here that I'm just scanning right now. But it doesn't look like there's any detrimental situation to doing so. But if you have a motion on the table to pursue a different option, that's maybe the way to go at this time, until such time we can get those properly answered.
we're still in the discussion phase on this. Councillor Bartlett, go ahead.
Thank you through you, Mayor. Just for clarification, Councillor Schuldeis, was that to pursue a 1 year or to get pricing on a 1 year?
Pricing.
Pricing. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And for staff to report back to council on that. Okay. And okay. All right. Last call for questions. Has been moved and seconded that additional inquiries be made in regard to 1 year and costing. I see no hands. All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried. Okay. Michael, we're on 8C and the building, and I don't see anything here. 8D finance, request for financial assistance. Kristen, would you like to speak to 8D number 1?
I think the report is fairly self-explanatory. We had a request from David Bastian in order to obtain a $1,500 donation to put a rink in Appin, an outdoor rink like the one we had in Melbourne. We have the room in the budget that we could use for it. We've done similar things in the past with the Melbourne rink last year. And it was very successful, and they are willing to construct the rink on their own and take care of all of the maintenance costs.
Good. Okay, and I believe, yeah, 2,000 was in the budget for 2022. That could be allocated to this. Any questions you'd like to ask Kristen in relationship to this? Yes, Councillor Cal, please go ahead.
I move the request.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Choi. Last call for discussion. Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my only question is, last year we gave Melbourne $1,000. So if we pass this, then we be expecting to give 1,500 to Melbourne as well now.
Kristen, would you like to address that?
I think last year's venture in Melbourne was a joint venture between Southwest Middlesex and Strathroy-Caradoc. So they received funding from both municipalities, as far as I'm aware.
And it provides a recreation for people in Ward 1 to recreate. Okay, we'll call it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Just another comment.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Both Councillor Cowell first, followed by the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. My comment was through the chair to Mr. Vink. Additionally, oftentimes when you do these rinks, there's more expense at the onset. And so oftentimes, like Melbourne, for example, has all the materials that they need and they can reuse them next year. So that means they shouldn't need an additional donation. So it's kind of a one-time thing, get them started, and then they can reuse their materials each year.
Yep. Thank you. Deputy Mayor, please go ahead.
Nope, I didn't have a question, Mayor Mayhew.
Oh, okay. I saw your hand. Okay, it's been moved. The last call. I don't see any hands. I'll look at my screen first. The horseshoe. Seeing none. All in favor? Carried. And Kristen, AD on operations in regard to the recycling initiative.
So I think we've heard for a few years that this is coming. So beginning in July 1st, 2023, we'll be transitioning to the producer responsible organization, Circular Materials, for the producers to oversee the costs or absorb the costs, sorry, of recycling. So we've got the options as set out here for Southwest Middlesex. We can either opt in and contract with Circular Materials to continue services, or opt out, in which case Circular Materials contracts directly with Waste Management for recycling. So my recommendation was to opt in. With that, they will absorb the cost of all recycling collection for residential services. So they won't, we would still have to pay for non-residential services, curbside pickup, which we currently do. And it would be about $2,000
Yep.
annually.
You heard that too, didn't you? Huh? Yeah, $2,000, which
Yes.
we're paying now. Yeah.
Mhm.
And of course, some commercial enterprises use dumpsters if they have very high volume, like some of the restaurants and that. But you're looking at the smaller businesses, of course, don't service with dumpsters, and that would be a service that would continue on. Council Circular Materials is a not-for-profit organization made up of 17, I believe, 17 companies in Canada. And you're looking at Loblaws, Restaurant International Brands, which are Tim Hortons, Maple Leaf Foods, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. These are a lot of Fortune 500 companies that have made this not-for-profit thing to administrate this aspect. Okay, any questions to Kristen? Yes, Councillor Cow.
I move the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. And is there a seconder for that, Council? Councillor Bartlett. And any questions? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering on July 1st of 2023, why Circular Materials would sign a contract with Waste Management instead of Southwest Middlesex?
I think there might be an answer to that. Kristen, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I could maybe have explained that better. So if we maintain the contract with Waste Management, Circular Materials will reimburse us for the recycling costs. The other option is Circular Materials will sign a contract with Waste Management for the recycling, and we will just be billed for waste. But if we have to negotiate a new contract, there's a likelihood that they'll increase the costs, which is why my recommendation would be to opt in and keep the existing contract in place and have them just reimburse us.
Thanks. That's a very pertinent statement that we really don't want that contract to be open again for negotiation. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any more questions? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Yeah, the prices have gone up substantially since we negotiated that original contract. Okay. We are at number 9, notice of motion. Councillor Cowell, I see you have a notice of motion on the agenda. Would you like to speak to it?
We all received the same email from the resident about services that are provided within Southwest Middlesex for feral cats and other cats that are being helped in the area. Currently, any contract we have or don't have for animal control does not include cats. So this was a request made by a ratepayer, and I am just passing it along. Council can choose to consider this donation at the budget time if they wish.
Okay, are there any questions that you'd like to ask Councillor Cowell through the chair? So, yes, go ahead, Councillor Bink.
Mayor Allen, I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, go ahead,
On
please.
this issue. I believe this company or nonprofit organization is outside of our municipality, and any ratepayer can donate to that organization on their own. So I feel that it should not be included in the budget.
Yep.
Excuse me, just one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mayor Allen. That was also told by a ratepayer to me.
Yeah, okay. That may be a consideration. And Deputy Mayor, do you want to take the gavel, or are you comfortable with me just making a brief statement?
Go ahead.
Okay, that was a concern expressed to me as well, Councillor Bink. But I think Councillor Cowell's interest in this motion, in the heart of it, it's going towards animal welfare, so to speak. I don't have any problem donating $1,500 to animal welfare. We have a huge problem with feral cats in Southwest Middlesex. There are 2 venues that take in these cats, one in Appin, and there is one in Wardsville that is fairly substantial as well. And I'm wondering if Councillor Cowell would make a friendly amendment to that notice of motion that instead of directing it to SALT, for the reasons that you've stated, Martin, that we just ask that be examined in the budget with the objective of seeing how best it would help Southwest Middlesex residents in terms of animal welfare, particularly cats. I get a lot of complaints on feral cats, and it's a huge problem. And I'm not going to identify the streets where this issue is on. I don't want to create any alarm with any people, but I would say on a bi-weekly basis, I get complaints on feral cats at certain properties. And I think perhaps future council could come up with some vision as to how best to put those funds towards helping Southwest Middlesex in not just one ward, but in Ward 3 as well. Councillor Cowell, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you. So the request that we received actually came from Mr. Purple, who runs Appin Cats. He's taken a step back from the services that he provides in Southwest Middlesex because of the overwhelming workload associated with it. He is full to capacity. This organization has stepped in where he has stepped out, and that request and recommendation came from him directly as a volunteer service provider within the community. I have no personal attachment to this. I literally was just forwarding on the request that came from the individual from Appin Cats. If council prefers to look at a general donation that budget time that says, even if it's a $500 donation, I don't care. It was more so the idea that feral cats is a continuing issue within Southwest Middlesex. This was a solution that was being provided by an individual within our community about something I am less familiar with. So if council would prefer to have an amendment that would look at a donation upwards of $1,500 to deal with the feral cat situation within the municipality, I am totally comfortable with that change.
Okay, thank you. And that interests me with that friendly amendment. I would certainly be more supportive of that notice of motion. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Schultz. Okay, all right, thank you. So we are going to, at budget time, discuss a donation. Kristen can put it in her menu of budgetary considerations, and we'll certainly make sure that that is earmarked for Southwest Middlesex, and not taking salt out of the equation, but how it would best serve the residents of Southwest Middlesex and the problem at hand, and it may require some analysis on the issue. Kendra, yes.
Did you want a max budget amount or a dollar amount attached to that resolution?
I think we're going to put. I think it was up to $1,500 or $1,500, and we can at budget time we can certainly. Council has the privilege of changing those numbers, but we will put that in for the convenience of Treasury that they can consider that. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Just peeking around at Amy there. We're okay. And all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Cow, for your cooperation there. Correspondence and petitions. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have any. Unfinished business, there's none. New business number 12, Councillor McGill, 5C and 5D in relationship to the consent agenda. If you would like to speak to those, good opportunity. The Southwest Middlesex variance report, and we'll see if Kristen can assist you on that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. The item that I was most concerned about in the variance report and in the vouchers is the cost for paving Old Drive. And there's some real problems with that. In the vouchers, it says we've paid Miller Paving $757,000, $757,127. It's also in the variance report, Old Drive Extension, Thames to Melbourne. It looks like the cost was $937,978. So what I'm wondering is when is the next scheduled payment to be? And my own feeling is I'd like to make a motion that we not pay any more on this road until it is repaired properly.
Okay, Kristen, what's our situation with payables on that item?
I did talk to Councillor McGill a little bit about this today. I can pull an invoice to see how much the holdback is. But I know Rob Cole has been in touch with the contractor and has been out to the site with the contractor. So I can make sure that everybody's on board, that no further payments are released until it's brought up to the standards.
Okay, perhaps Councillor McGill, some discussions have materialized on that, but I think as chair, I feel more comfortable if there was a motion directing the Treasury to hold back on that.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. That was my intent, was just to reinforce the position on this, because the whole purpose of a holdback is in case there are problems, there's money held back until the job is done correctly. And I believe the final portion, or at least the last time Old Drive, the other end of Old Drive, when it was repaired, there was like a 2% holdback that wasn't paid until 2 years later. But then there was another portion that was paid, and I don't know the timeline for that. But I feel in this case we shouldn't pay any more than we already have until that road is repaired properly. And it isn't, from what Rob Cole has told me, and I know Miller Paving has been contacted, I don't believe they're planning on doing anything to rectify the situation until next year.
No, I've had some concerns expressed to me about it as well, in terms of the quality of the work. Okay, yes, Andrew. Councillor Cal, yep, go ahead.
I'll
Councillor
second that
Cal.
motion, Counselor
Okay.
McGill.
Thank you. Discussion, any further discussion? Councillor Scholdice?
Mayor Mayhew, through you to Councillor McGill, I just wondered if you could specify what repairs still need to be done on it.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what's gonna have to be done there, but anybody that has driven down it can tell that especially at the Melbourne Road end of Old Drive, there's terrible washboards. I mean, really what the residents tell me is the road is in worse shape now than before the work was done. And all I can do when they tell me that is I have to agree with them because I've been down it. So, yeah, it just, whatever it takes, I'm not sure at this point what it's going to require to fix that.
I agree with you.
Okay, yep. Councillor Vink?
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I wondered if we could get a little report of what they were supposed to do and what has been done. That would enlighten us a little bit, what should have been done.
That's fine. I think the motion though states that we hold back payment of this and we'll get that off the table rather than, I don't want to get in the weeds on this. I think the focus is that the municipality not pay for something that is not right. And so we have a motion and a seconder on that. I think I'd like to get that. If you would like a report from staff to come forth, that can certainly be arranged. Michael can and Kristen can certainly make sure that that comes forth. Yep. Any other questions regarding the holdback to Miller Paving? I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, carried. That the treasurer has been instructed to hold back any payments in regard to that road until some solutions found. And Michael, how would you like to handle Councillor Vink's inquiry on that? Will be a report come forth later on at some point in time that we can see what the problem is or an analysis can be made?
Yeah, we can certainly do that, Your Worship. I'm just trying to figure out a date in my head because of the change that we had to do council meetings. You're going into inaugural on the 16th, and then the 23rd is your first official meeting as the new council. Yeah. So we could probably have something come back to that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Councillor Vink would be forgiving on that as long as it's on the agenda at some point in time. Martin will find out the particulars of it. Okay, thank you. Okay, and Kendra, yes, go ahead, Kendra. Oh, who was the seconder on that? Councillor Cowell. Yep. Yep. Okay. And Councillor or Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
Thank you very much. I must apologize to council, but the first 5 minutes of the meeting when the agenda was being adopted, Councillor Cowell and I couldn't hear anything. So I'm sure it was a bit of a technical issue at the office, but it was corrected. However, I wasn't able to bring this up that I'd like to discuss it at the meeting. It's my understanding that the Your Wardsville group are hosting a Halloween party for the community children. And I also understand that the Glencoe CCC committee are holding one also. Considering that Halloween parties have been on hold for the last few years, I am prepared to make a motion that $400 be divided between the two organizations to host their Halloween party this Monday. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Right. Any discussion on this? Yeah. Any discussion on from council? Yep. Okay. Yes, Councillor Choi.
Thank you. I know the Your Wardsville organization just recently put out a request to local residents asking for decorations to be borrowed. So I think $200 could go a long way in making the kids' Halloween party a lot more successful and entertaining. And I know the CCC does a great job with their Halloween as well.
They do.
I think this is a great idea.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Council, very often we give money to the adult population of Southwest Middlesex, and it gives us the opportunity to give it to the children. Doesn't always come our way. Any questions? Last call. All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried. Deputy Mayor, thank you very much for that. Okay, Councillor McGill, you're satisfied with 5C and 5D being looked after. Thank you for your patience there. County Council and conference updates. Yep.
Mayor Allen, I had a question on the variance report as well.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Martin. Yep.
The last item, capital projects, there's something about $4 million for water and sewer modeling and construction. In the budget, it says $4 million, and then it says completed. I'm not sure what was done here.
Sorry, that was a placeholder that we put in the budget last year. It was the study for the water and sanitary modeling, and we thought it would cost approximately $4 million. The actual works that they came back with are, as you've seen, much, much higher than this. So the study's completed. What I'm going to do in this coming year's budget, and probably the next few coming budget years, is incorporate some of those changes into the budget each year that council can approve, and we can get some of those recommendations completed so that they're not inhibiting development.
Okay, satisfy you, Councillor Vink? Good. Okay, thank you. I think we've addressed that. Any updates on conferences? I think we've all remained home. Announcements, are there any? Yes, Councillor McGill.
No, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I voted in favor of reintroducing the idea of being able to have announcements, and I don't intend on using it very often, but I know when those of us that were running for re-election were campaigning, we stressed all the things we've done right, but we also, you know, anybody that does anything, sometimes things don't go right. So I'd just like to mention, I think a priority of the next council would be, and I've already mentioned Gold Drive. We're trying to make things better. Hopefully, I'm sure eventually it will be better, but so far it's not. Victoria Street in Melbourne. I'd like to see us re-examine the restructuring of the facilities and rec. The idea of having 2 people in the winter and then 2 people in the summer, all on contract positions and at a lower wage in the summer. I don't think we can keep good health that way. So I'm hoping the new council can re-examine that decision, change that. And if this is a smaller matter, but even the rebranding, if the new council wanted to revisit that, I'd be willing to do that too. So that's all I'd like to say on those subjects for now.
Okay, thank you. And I know you mentioned Victoria Street in Melbourne, and I think Ann Crescent in Glencoe has the same issue as well. And we have got a slurry budgeted for that, and that's still on the drawing board. We're making some inquiries on that. What's the status of that?
Kendra told me to stop talking. I will have to check with Rob Cole on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other announcements? Yes, Martin, go ahead.
I'd just like to state that I agree with Councillor McGill on all those items, that we should be looking at them. And so I certainly agree that we should look at a little bit of reorganization with our staff as well, which is part of this part-time, full-time.
It is. Yeah, particularly in this environment of human resources, it's important to retain your help. Yep. Don't see any more questions. November 11th is coming up, and the council on Remembrance Day is this council that are before us this evening. There's no change on Remembrance Day. I am starting to get contacts from both Melbourne and the one on my desk from the Glencoe Legion that I haven't responded to yet. Want participation on laying wreaths, which I said I would. I have not been asked by Wardsville or Newbury yet, but Deputy Mayor, on Friday, November 11th, are you available to lay a wreath at Newbury? If you are, you can have that
I think-
privilege.
I think Mayor Mayhew, you should be asking the incoming deputy mayor.
Okay, yep, I can do that, no problem. And the reason I asked you is that the council does not change until the inaugural meeting at council. And out of courtesy, that's why I asked that. I'd like to see, there's no reason the 2 or 3 councillors can go up to the cenotaph and lay a wreath. And Councillor Vink, Councillor Choi, if you would take that responsibility on, would you agree? To lay the wreath in Wardsville on Friday if you're available.
If I'm available, yes.
Okay, and Councillor Vink?
Yes, I plan on being there, so I'm
Okay.
willing to do it and also with Amy as well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and Councillor Scholdice will no doubt be in attendance as well. And I'm sure out of courtesy, he could go up with you as well. And I think it makes a good statement on behalf of the municipality. And Glenn McGee usually asks me to lay one in Newbury. And if I can't make it, can't be in 3 spots at the same time. But and Mark, the one in Melbourne, I'd love you to accompany me on the 4th. No, the 6th, November 6th. And I can give you the details on that. November 6th at the Legion at 10:30. Walk to Guthrie, then from Guthrie lay the wreath and then go back in. Okay, and maybe Don McCollum, we can get that. I'll get that information out to Don McCollum as well. Yeah. Okay, and yeah, and Councillor Cal, you're certainly welcome to join that contingent as well if you're available. Okay, any further announcements?
Yeah, you got one from me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship. On 14.18 under announcements in your procedural bylaw, if council would be so kind, please provide those to the mayor in writing prior to the meeting, so it keeps it a little bit more streamlined.
Okay.
You know what's coming,
All right.
and that way we can help out with any of the situations as well if they come forward. So in the future, please, just
Okay.
under your own procedural bylaw.
Yep, it's always good. Staff, you'll get more for your more mileage if staff know what's coming at them. No closed session. 16, the bylaws are there. There are 5 bylaws before you that have been presented. Someone entertain a motion to move those bylaws. Yes, Kendra, before we get into
Yeah,
this.
the motion would have just changed to remove the contract with the Humane Society.
Okay, and that is bylaw. Yep. Yep. Okay, got it. Okay. We
93.
will, yep,
will be
it
removed.
is, bylaw 093. So we will entertain 4, 090, 091, 092, and 094. Those 4 bylaws, would someone entertain that? Yes, Councillor Bartlett, seconder. Councillor Scholdice, discussion? All in favor? Carried. Future meetings, Wednesday, November 23rd at 7, and Wednesday, December 14th. And the chair will adjourn the meeting at 8:15.